Welcome to Discover Ramona, where we showcase the people, places, and businesses that make Ramona the best place to live. I'm your host, Valley, and we're back, of course, with Jan Ryan. Welcome back.
Great, thank you. It's so good to be here and with you.
Yeah, you had a really special event, and I really want to know about it. The kids, it looked like the community loved it. Tell us about it. How'd it go?
Well, it was great. We had the Remax hot air balloon, and they gave hot air balloon rides in the morning, Saturday and Sunday at the fair. And they had a night glow, which was super cool, at night at sunset. So they had 3 balloons, not just the Remax, but a couple of other balloons. And it just looked spectacular. You could see it from the fair. And so many people had great rides that were looking forward to
All
it.
ages got to go up in the balloons?
All ages, even babies. I had parents bring kids that were a little afraid of heights, so they were able to go up there and enjoy it. So it went really well.
That is a special treat, because in San Diego, it's not often you get to do that. It's pretty expensive, right? For if somebody wanted to just do it on their own. So, you know, you guys offer this kind of free as charge?
Yeah, it was at no cost. It was our thank you to the community for being so supportive over the years. So we were so happy to do it. All the agents in the office came and helped, and we got to take the balloon up, help put it down, and actually crew the balloon.
And you guys funded that whole process so that the community can enjoy it for free?
Actually, the Remax Corporate picked it up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
cool,
so
cool.
It's our contributions to corporate, but they pick it up.
But it's important that they realize how important it is to get out and be active in your community.
Oh, they do, and they give us so much support.
Yeah, and there's nothing more valuable than a face-to-face meet and greet kind of relationship. You can do so many things over the internet and via text and by phone, but there's nothing like face-to-face, in-person contact.
You know, that's so true. And so much of our business now is automated emails, automated text messages, but there is nothing like one-on-one and seeing everybody and getting the conversations going, and there's nothing like that.
I love that you're taking the initiative too to do it. Like, it started with you made the contact and made it happen. I know that you do like to do community events and be out there interacting with people in Ramona. So do you guys have anything else coming up that we should know about?
Well, the Ramona Rodeo is coming up, and that's going to be August 24th through the 26th. That's a big event. This will be their 42nd Ramona Rodeo, which is pretty exciting. Yeah. And down the line, there's the Christmas tree lighting, which is a huge community event where they shut down Main Street. So we're hoping to maybe bring the Remax balloon back then.
Oh, that would be so fun. I'd love to see. Hopefully I can go this time. And you reminded me, we're getting into the fall and the holidays are fast approaching. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of events that people can see you at, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, thanks, Jan. And nobody really knows the community of Ramona better than you. And so today you brought in a special guest, right?
I did, and I'm excited to bring in Vito Tutino from the Barn Restaurant in Ramona, and he's going to be here today to share his business.
Awesome. Wonderful. So Vito, welcome to the show. I am so excited to meet you because the business you run is right up my alley, the things I love in life. So tell us the business you own. Tell us a little bit about it, how you started.
Well, we've been in the restaurant business for a number of years, almost 40 actually. But the Ramona business was something that we were kind of like enticed to get into. I'm also in the construction industry as well. So one of my framers who lives in Ramona, and I love him. He's like a little brother to me. He would always ask me, "Why don't you open a restaurant in Ramona?" And I would say, you know, joking, I'd say, "What do you have? 10 people in Ramona?" And he'd say, "No, we got like 45,000." I was like, "Oh." So when a lease came up in PB at one of my other locations, I was pretty much ready to retire. To be honest with you, I was done. My wife had enough already at this point in time too. But he kept sending me different links to different places in Ramona. Mama Rose's Pizza was for sale. I said, I'm not interested. I used to own 7 pizza places. And then he kept sending other things. And finally, he sent me a picture of this Sizzler property that was sitting there. And I'll be honest with you, it wasn't the building that got my attention. It was this parking lot. I kept looking at this parking lot, and I kept saying, wow, look at this parking lot. Yeah. I mean, coming from PB, we had no parking. So I'm looking at the parking lot, and I thought, you know what? Born and raised in San Diego, I've been to Ramona a bunch of times, but I never really looked at it as a possibility to do a business there. So when I went up there, I was shocked. I was completely shocked. For one, I felt like I left California. I felt like, where am I? Texas? Where am I up here? It was beautiful. You know, I really enjoyed that feeling I got right away. And then I started looking around at different times, you know, 6 o'clock in the morning, on a Saturday morning. I come back at noon, come back at 4, come back at 6. You know, I was doing all these different things. And I was completely impressed with the amount of traffic that there's there. You go to the ball fields over there, and this was around, well, we signed the lease in April, so I was already checking this out in March. And baseball already gotten underway. And the fields were packed, 1,000 cars out there. Baseball going on from ages of 8 years old or younger all the way to, you know, 18-year-olds. Some ladies dressed in square dancing costumes coming off the stage over here. And I'm like, wow, this is great. So I told Fernando, who's my partner, who just was trying to get me to open a restaurant there. I said, if you want me to open a restaurant here, you're going to be my partner. Mm-hmm. Oh, what? Yeah. And so he is. Mm-hmm. And that's how we got started.
And the name of the business is?
The Barn.
The Barn.
The Barn Dining and Dancing.
The Barn Dining and Dancing. That sounds like a blast. And I get it, because San Diego, you think tourism, that's where you're going to make most of your money. Go to the tourism towns like Pacific Beach, where you were in before, and open a restaurant, bar, whatever it may be there, because you'll get more traffic. But the special thing about places like Ramona is that that's their hometown. And they're so loyal to the businesses that are in that hometown. A lot of people want to have all that access to that dining, dancing, the fun times with their family without leaving Ramona. They want to stay.
Well, there's a reason for that. We weren't going to do dancing. I had 2 restaurants getting ready to get designed and put in there. In fact, I drew the plans for them. So there was going to be a diner in what used to be the lounge or the banquet room of the Sizzler. And that would operate from 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. And then on the opposite side, in the larger part of the dining room, was going to be XYZ whatever with a bar in it. And we were going that direction. But as soon as we put a roll-off container outside and started gutting out the old Sizzler, the people from the town would come by and say, "You doing dancing?" And we're like, "No." "You doing dancing?" "No." "Dancing?" "No." 3,000 times dancing. And I'm like, these guys want dancing.
Give them dancing.
Not one time did anybody ever ask me, what kind of food are you going to serve here? Right. In fact, I went to the post office to change the mailing address to make sure our mail would arrive at our location now. And the lady behind the counter at the post office said, what kind of food are you serving? And I'm like,
oh, thank you.
And I was stunned. I didn't know how to answer her. I was like, I was expecting her to say, you're doing dancing. And so the chamber came in, Joe Stupar, and it was kind of like, hi, I'm Joe. Are you Vito? Yeah. Shook hands. Are you doing dancing? And I'm like, no. And then came in the lieutenant on the sheriff's department. And he said, oh, I like what you did in here. He's looking around and he said, you gonna do dancing? And I said, no. And he said, why not? I said, why should I? And this is what he said. He pointed up to Julian, San Isabel, Ramona, Lakeside. He goes, everyone's going over to the old Highway 80 to the Renegade to dance. Mm-hmm. I said, okay, that's good. Mm-hmm. And he said, yeah, then they're driving home.
Well, I've got to say, first time I walked into the barn, I was blown away by the decor. You walk in there and you say, I've got to dance. Mm-hmm. So it is spectacular.
We redrew, I scrapped it all. Once he said that, and it's funny because over the years, we have to beg law enforcement to allow us for entertainment permits. Mm-hmm. But here, law enforcement is insisting that we do it. Mm-hmm. And it was basically for safety. Mm-hmm. And that's really what it is. Yeah. And it's, if they can stay local without having to drive down that hill and come back up, sober, mm-hmm. Could be a difficult drive. Not sober, it could be a very difficult drive.
But you get a ton of people from all over, too.
Oh, we do.
They come from all over to dance there.
Oh, yeah, we get them from San Marcos. I'll talk to people from Temecula.
Because there's still a shortage of places like that in that area. So if you're one of 2, that's somebody. There's a 50% chance of if somebody's going out that night, they're going to one of your places.
Oh, absolutely.
So I like that idea, and it's funny because who would have thought? I guess that's only a hometown knowledge. Is if all the Ramona, I wouldn't have known that Ramona people like to dance. They want to boogie.
They want to get down.
They love dancing. They love to dance, and we just said, okay, fine. So we scrapped everything. We redrew it up based on giving them a dance floor. I was given a phone call or received a phone call by a gal named Aaliyah Elston, who had said that, "Hi, I'm Aaliyah. I hear you're doing dancing." And I said, "Well, I don't know that to be true yet." She goes, "Well, that's what I heard." I said, "Okay." I said, "What can I do for you?" And she says, "Well, I'm a dance instructor." I said, "Really?" She said, "Yeah." She goes, "Can I come over and talk to you?" I said, "Sure." So she came over, and she's again a Ramona. Their family owns Elston's
And Gray.
And so she says, "Well, the first thing you got to do is got to put a wood floor here," and it was all going to be concrete. And I said, "A wood floor? Why?" She says, "Well, because the dancers aren't going to dance on concrete. They're going to have to have wood floor." So I put in I literally myself put in that wood floor, 2,600 square feet of it, on my knees. But anyway, so I did it, and she's like, "Oh, it's great," and then she started with her page, and before you knew it, we were dancing in there. I'll be honest with you, I'll probably get in trouble for this. We were dancing there before we weren't opened.
Yeah, just a few of you, right? Like people showing up ready to.
She had her entourage of people that would come, and they would just dance, and it was just, "Can we use your place?" "Sure, go ahead."
I love that you conformed your business to what the people wanted, and two things came to mind. One is it sounded like the Ramona. You're an outsider, right?
From Ramona.
Ramona is a small town, and so these people really accepted you and welcomed you into their community.
Well, I am the outsider, but Fernando is not. He's an insider. In fact, Fernando goes back to where his grandfather were slaughtering turkeys. There was no asphalt on Main Street. There was none of that stuff. So they go back that many generations in Ramona. In fact, a few of them were there last night, all talking about it because they've all moved away in some places. But that's how long they've been there.
So we really should be thanking him for his persistence
Fernando.
on poking you to get you to come out there and build something.
He was the one.
Does he have a VIP section with his giant purple chair that he gets?
Fernando is how do I explain Fernando? Fernando is for one, he's a very polite, respectful individual. That's what attracted us together. I mean, in terms of doing, work over the years in construction together. But he's also not the kind of guy that's looking for any kind of fame. He likes to just remain in his own world, and that's that. He's happy there. But we constantly discuss things daily, so we're always on the phone. And when I have a partner, I have more conversation with that partner than I do my own wife in most instances, and I'm with her 24/7. She can attest to that.
Yep.
So we're working together constantly. But he knows what he likes, and he listens very well.
It sounds like together you guys have created something really beautiful. And you mentioned something that, there are different places nearby that have a similar theme like you do, that kind of barn country feel.
In San Diego.
Yeah, but what I was thinking is you mentioned food.
Yes.
You said people weren't asking about the menu, but I saw the menu. So tell us about it. Because
that's been a kind of a secret almost. It wasn't not intended to be a secret, but because dancing was so popular that people looked at us as a dance venue, a live music venue. But realistically, we're first and foremost a restaurant, and the food is amazing there, I have to admit.
My favorite is the filet. We come in every Thursday and get the filet, and the barn salad is amazing too. Vito's own recipe for the dressing.
Yes. That's right. That was a dressing I brought in from another restaurant I created years ago.
Is the restaurant open? What are the hours the restaurant's open?
The restaurant's open from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Wednesday and Sunday. Okay. Thursday we're open from 4 to 11, and Friday we're open from 4 p.m. to 2 a.m.
Both
Friday and Saturday.
Good dinner.
Oh yeah,
and have some entertainment at the same time.
Business has been phenomenal. I thank Ramona for their support. It's been great. We try to constantly, we're listening constantly, and we're trying to give them what they want. Ever since the dancing thing, we listened and we stopped what we had plans to do and said, this is what they want. Okay, so let's do it for them.
Is it a family-friendly place where you can bring your kids to?
Absolutely. And when the pandemic hit, and they were finally allowed to operate, entertainment was still not allowed inside. So the alcohol and beverage control came up and said, look, you do it outside. And so we did it outside, and it was
like better advertising for you because everybody can see it.
Well, I'll tell you what, they enjoyed it. They really had a good time. I was watching them, little kids, out there dancing, And deputies would come by who I knew on the force, and they'd say, "How's it going over there?" I said, "Well, we got a couple of 3-year-olds that might be a little bit of a problem." We'd joke, and they'd sit around and laugh, but they were having a blast, and there would be 300-400 people out there just dancing away and having a good time. And I liked it. I didn't care. There was never a charge for any of this stuff. In fact, I rarely charge for anything. If you come in and we have a band, it's free. The only time we do is if we bring in a band that's a special band. We have coming up, we have Twisted Gypsy, which is a Fleetwood Mac tribute band. We've had Van Halen there, which was a Van Halen tribute band. We've had Billy Nation, which is the Billy Joel tribute band. And we're bringing in various bands like that because besides it being a country venue, which it's really a country-themed restaurant for all intents and purposes, the way it looks, the way the feel is, but the people of Ramona, they're either been there their whole lives or they're recently transplanted to Ramona, and they're looking for a variety of things, and I noticed that. And so, again, because we're listening, we're doing. And if someone says, "Hey, we want an R&B band," well, here you go. Here's an R&B band. The Hispanic crowd came up and said, "Hey, what are you doing for us?" I said, "What would you like me to do?" "Well, we'd like to have some of our music there." Okay, so we dedicated the first Saturday of every month to be a fiesta night. And we bring in Latino bands, and let me tell you, there's a very large Latino population in Ramona, and they have a good time.
Yeah.
And so I'm happy. It's easier to be a businessman and give people what they want than try to force them what I think they should have.
Well, it seems like you're super, your attention to the community is really focused, micro focused. So what's your vision in the future for, just engaging with that community beyond them telling you what you want to do? Are you actively seeking events that you can be a part of in the community too?
We have actually recently. We were recently contacted by the Ramona Rodeo people, and normally every year since I've been up here, and I've been up here since 2019, when the rodeo would go on, there's always an after party at the rodeo grounds. And they'll have live music, they'll bring in different bands, and people are dancing and having a good time. But for some reason this year, they decided they didn't want to do that. And they contacted me and said, "Hey, you guys always do the after party for the rodeo, don't you?" And I said, "No, we have never done an after party. We've always been open, people come." "Well, this year we want you to do the after party for the rodeo." So that's great for our business, but it's kind of, there's a lot of concern because there's a lot of people. So in order to do that, we have to stop dinner at 9 p.m. that night, pull all tables and chairs into the main dining room to accommodate that many people that are coming over.
And all the dancing that's going to be going on.
That's right. We have 2 great bands, probably the 2 best bands, or close to the 2 of the best bands in the whole country scene in San Diego, which is Barbed Wire and Patrick Howard Trampus. So they're both performing Friday and Saturday night. So.
I think one thing about you, Vito, I didn't realize, but you have so much experience in the restaurant business, managing and running restaurants, which translates into a great menu. And I know Margie, your wife, does too, grew up in the restaurant business.
We did, we both did. And funny enough, I tried to stay out of the restaurant business, that and construction. I'm actually an engineer out of the defense industry. And back in 1990, we all lost our jobs and back to the restaurant and construction. So here I am. This is what I do.
Fed into what you're doing now too.
It did. We've, in our families, we're Sicilian, both my wife and I. And so it's always a lot of food. We cook constantly. The men, the women, we'll sit there in August and we're making our tomato sauce to last for the whole year. So we have tomatoes all over the place, and my mother would be sitting there with big old stew pots, and they're stewing tomatoes, and my dad's with the machine pressing them all out, and we're making sauce, and we'd store it for the whole year. So you're using tomato sauce for anything and everything.
Do you feel like your culture has impacted the menu that you have?
It has. I tried not to make it an Italian restaurant, but yet it's more of an Italo-Italian or Italo-Americana type of restaurant style of menu. It does have. It lends itself to some Italian food, which is pizzas, some pastas. We'll do osso buco, for example, which a lot of restaurants don't do much of, but it's a veal shank. It's called the volcano cut, so it's a large cut. It's got the bone marrow in it. It's slowly cooked for about 4 hours, and it's one of the most tender pieces of meat you're ever going to have.
Salivating, I had to swallow what he was thinking of talking about.
So that we do. I happen to like rack of lamb. It's one of my favorite cuts, and so we have that. So we do a roasted rack of lamb, which is to die for. In there.
That's kind of rare. What else do you know about him that we should
Well, I know my husband will call you, Vito, and say, "Can Margie make her meatballs?"
Yes, we are
She
doing.
makes
We
them
are.
amazing.
See, I was on the fence about bringing these kinds of things in. I was like, do we bring meatballs back? I mean, this is the kind of stuff we used to serve in our pizza places. And I thought, but then all of a sudden, I've been noticing on different menus around different restaurants that meatballs made a comeback. So I told my wife, I said, man, we should make some meatballs. So she
They're easy
did,
to eat.
and we actually used Jan and her husband and family as guinea pigs and said, here, try these.
Yeah, I'll take that job.
No problem.
Yeah, we got
So-
that covered.
So they were there one night, and I said, yeah, I just brought out some meatballs, and they said, what's this? I said, some meatballs. Try them out, see what you think. And they said, oh my God, you got to put this
They're
on the
amazing.
menu.
Wonderful.
So we're constantly trying to revamp the menu. In fact, right now, we're real close to finally introducing this new menu change. And what it's done is it's because I'm looking at it from several ways. I'm looking at it from a customer's point of view more than my point of view. I'm looking at what are they going to want when they come here, and what are they willing to spend. You know, we have to be careful about putting in, you know, all these high-priced steak items and not have enough choices in something that's a little bit more price effective. So we created a menu now that's going to introduce, you know, a prime rib sandwich, for example. We have prime rib sliders. We have corned beef sliders. We have meatball sub. We have a Italian cold cut sandwich, a torpedo coming in, something that we used to serve years ago in other restaurants. We thought, let's introduce them here. That can give a lot more choices. It would be very cost effective for a family to come in there and eat now at this point in time compared to eating anywhere else in town. So that's what we're doing now. We've added some more pastas. Our staff, I have to admit, I love them. They are people that came with no experience, and we trained them, and they put up with us.
I have a feeling though that it's a blessing to get trained by you guys with the experience you have and just your demeanor and just, you know, loving energy. I would be, if it were me, I would be honored to have one of my kids or, you know, sister or little sister work for you. I think that the business that you have going and all the things you're doing for the community are lovely, and I can't wait to see how this, you know, everything is transformative, so things change as, you know, the community changes and when people's wants change. So I love that you're open to listening to what, you know, the community wants as well.
Come up and bring your dancing boots, and we'll see you up there.
Yeah, I got them. I do.
Okay.
I have some good cowgirl boots, and
All right.
I'll come
There
up
we
there
go.
and boogie and see if you recognize me in some jeans. You know.
Let's
Sure, we'll
plan
keep an
it.
eye out.
Yeah, let's do it. Well, we got to wrap this up, and I really appreciate you coming in and letting us know about this special business in. It's just now. I guess it's just a part of Ramona. You know, it's not just a business. It's like home. So I really appreciate you sharing that with us and some of our viewers going to take a look at it. I'd like to hear some feedback. I myself will be visiting. I'm just down the hill
me
of
know.
Lakeside, so
Well, good. We get a lot of people from Lakeside.
yeah. And it was super lovely meeting you. Thank you, Jan, for introducing us to him.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Vito.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching Discover Ramona, and tune in next time to where we showcase the people, the places, and the businesses that make Ramona a great place to live.